Hello, and my name is Pete Rushmer, and I'm your host today of A Half Dozen Things podcast. A Half Dozen Things is a podcast for business owners just like you. Whether you're an underdog hungry for success, or you're already smashing it but want to continue to level up, we are here each week for you to get insight and learning from the very best in the business. No fluff, no BS, and no self-proclaimed gurus talking about how easy business or life is. Hello to today's podcast for A Half Dozen Things. I hope you're well. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that I have my woolly Manchester United hat on, which is a bit unusual. And hopefully if you're enjoying this on YouTube, then you get to have a good laugh, because I am indoors. You can see wedding photos of Maggie and I, and here I am indoors in my bobble hat for Manchester United. So it gives you some indication of what I'm here to speak to you about today. And I'm just in because there's a few things that I wanted to mention that I've learnt this year from Erik Ten Hag, the new Manchester United coach, around leadership, and I wanted to share those insights with you. So those of you that know will know that I'm a big fan of Man United. I absolutely love them, have done since I was a child, and I've certainly rediscovered my passion this season because United are back on top, and I've got a season ticket, so I'm going up regularly, and I absolutely love going up and watching them at the moment. They're playing fantastic football. Now, this isn't a big We Love Manchester United podcast here. If you support other teams, you're more than welcome, but no matter what football team you support, you need to admire, or I suggest we admire, the fantastic work that Erik Ten Hag has done at United over the past sort of 6 to 7 months since he's been in charge. I've been really, really impressed with how he's done, and I'm hoping this podcast will age well, and that he won't fall on the scrap heap like the other Manchester United managers of recent times since Alex Ferguson. However, there is obviously no guarantees, and we don't know, but certainly thus far, I've seen some fantastic traits, and there's 6 key leadership skills that I wanted to share with you today that I've seen demonstrated from Erik Ten Hag, and I've been really impressed. There's certainly learnings that I've sort of taken as I reflect on what I've seen from the team, and it's quite a timely podcast for me because I'm recording this straight after the Manchester derby. United got beaten earlier in the season by Manchester City when we played over their place 6-3, and just recently we've been beaten them 2-1 at home at Old Trafford, and I managed to get there to watch it. It was absolutely fantastic to watch, and I was really, really excited, and the atmosphere was just incredible. It was absolutely electric. It's like nothing I've ever experienced. So it's been a really, really good experience. Certainly this season, we've won some really big games as I've gone to watch the team at Old Trafford, and I see fantastic teamwork. I really do see fantastic teamwork. So moving on to the 6 key leadership skills that I've seen. The first is around passion. The second is around strong leadership. The third is that no one is bigger than the team. The fourth is discipline. The fifth is flexibility to change. And the sixth is to praise in public, but to manage in private. So those were the 6 key things that have really stood out for me with Erik Ten Hag's leadership so far this season. So the first is around passion. And what I mean by that is it's really reignited, particularly my passion for United. And as a season ticket holder and getting into the club and going to Old Trafford has been a really, really exciting time. And I feel that the leadership that's been shown has really helped to generate that. And what we've seen is a big uptake in the passion of the players on the pitch. So that's been keenly rewarded by the manager. And I see defending, I see tracking back, I see people working really hard for each other as players and as team members, and that's a really, really vital part of any type of team. So and to play with passion, and for people to support with passion, and for people to cheer cheer on, I think is a vital part of any business. So that's the first initial learning for me, and certainly something that I've really enjoyed, that thrill of seeing the team working for each other and having the passion to do what they do and do it well. I think is really important. The second one is around strong leadership and leading by example. So there's a particular story that I allude to here, which I think was quite a turning point for Manchester United this season. And again, I hope those fans of other teams are still listening, because I'm keen to ensure that people still listen and enjoy, despite me talking about United. But there's a situation that many who hate United will have really enjoyed, and that was United getting beaten at home or away to Brentford at the beginning of the season. Now, there's an interesting statistic that came out of that match, which was that the Brentford team during the 90 minutes had accumulated an additional 13.8 kilometres of running over and above the United team. So what was interesting is that game took place on the Saturday, and the following day, on the Sunday, so I hear, was Erik Ten Hag pulled all the United players back into the training ground when it would have been their day off, and he made them all individually run 13.8 kilometres, which was the difference between them and Brentford the day before, to which they lost. And interestingly, he took part in that as well, because he felt that he had failed the team as well. And he made the coaching staff join in too. So I felt that was a real point of showing really strong leadership and leading by example. So there was that accountability for the team's failure, but also the ownership that was taken, and the leading by example when the punishment or the penalty is sort of dished out, that actually he's at the front of the queue to take it too.
Hi, it's Pete from Flagship Partners. We're proud to sponsor a Half Dozen Things podcast. Flagship Partners help their clients become safer, greener, and greater through a range of consultancy and training services. We offer audits through to risk assessments, contracts through to support with managing your culture, all the way from mandatory training through to management training as well. So if you need any support, please do get in touch with Flagship Partners today.
And is going to lead the way. So I thought that was absolutely fantastic as a second point, a really good example. The third is that no one is bigger than the team. So it's really interesting, as I've watched on, there's been this whole drama play out so far this season, and that's now come to an end with Cristiano Ronaldo, who, as many will know, was one of the best one of the best footballers in the world, arguably the best footballer in the world, depending on whether you sit on the Messi or Ronaldo side of the table. But he's not really done himself any favours. He wasn't really playing very well, and despite all the hype around him, and obviously he had a fantastic season last season, but there's a huge amount of hype around him and a huge amount of ego, and I felt that was dealt with and managed very well by Ten Hag, and very similar to Alex Ferguson before him. He made it very clear no single player is bigger than the team, no one is more important than the team. He dropped Ronaldo when he needed to, and he dealt with the whole thing with a huge amount of discretion, which I thought was a really good example of strong leadership. The fourth area was around discipline. Now, good leadership is around having good discipline and instilling good discipline in your team. And Erik Ten Hag has not been afraid of making those hard calls around discipline. So a good example was Marcus Rashford has been in the best form of his career, scored a fantastic amount of goals so far this season, and he's been scoring week in and week out. And a couple of weeks ago, he was dropped. And the reason he was dropped was that he broke one of the club rules, which was being late for a team meeting. So he was dropped to the bench, despite his good form, despite how well he was playing. The manager and the leader of the team, Erik Ten Hag, has gone, no, do you know what? Despite your form, despite how well you're playing, it might not be the best thing for the team, but long term, it's the right thing for the team to drop you, because it's important. It's important to ensure that we maintain discipline through the team. So I thought that was another fantastic example. The fifth area that I thought was particularly important was around flexibility to change. So one of the things is Erik Ten Hag has been playing a range of different tactics and players in the squad, and has picked certain tactics for certain matches. Now, at times those have worked really well, and at times they haven't at all. But he has had the humility to see the error in the tactics or the team choices he's made, and to put them right very rapidly. And that applies again as a leader in business, as well as sports coaching. That it's important to recognise when things are maybe not going the way you expect them to, or you'd hope to. You don't just sort of blindly stand by that decision. You've got to be flexible to be able to change and enjoy changing your decision. I don't necessarily mean enjoy, but essentially be able to comfortably move from one situation to another, and not just stick to your guns blindly, because it's important to be able to understand that what you've decided may not be the right thing at the time, and that your team are a team of people, and sometimes it just doesn't work out how you expect it to. So you've got to be willing and flexible to be able to accommodate that, and potentially not be too proud to be able to make changes where they're needed. So that's the fifth thing. And the final thing that I've been really, really impressed with is how he's praised the team in public and done all his managing in private. Now, when I say this, it's interesting when you watch other football managers, often they don't protect their players as well as they could do. And I think that Ten Hag has done a fantastic job of protecting the players when they've not played well. He has been very supportive of them in the media, and he will praise great performance in public, but he doesn't, when there's been mistakes, he's not been publicly critical. He's been very guarded in the way that he's and professional in the way that he's discussed different situations at the club and what he shared with the media. So I think he's done an absolutely fantastic job there around keeping the management of the team on a private basis and not sharing that with the media and not making that public. And clearly he's managing the team. Clearly he's disciplining the players, but he's doing that in private and obviously publicly praising the fantastic performances that have been being made. So I think there's 6 really useful leadership tips that have come out of that as I've reflected on United this season. And I'm sure there's countless examples if you were to look at City and Pep Guardiola, or Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, or over at Spurs or Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. I think has been doing a fantastic job this season. And obviously it's not just football either. I'm sure there's great leadership examples elsewhere as well to look at. But in particular, I just wanted to share that. Obviously, it's a bit of passion for me. I absolutely love United. I love going and watching them, and I'm really enjoying the way that the game's being played at the moment by United and their players and how well they're doing. But I'm particularly enjoying the fact that we have a really strong leader who's doing a fantastic job of managing the players. So just a bit of a recap, those 6 key areas was about ensuring that there's passion and teamwork. The second is around strong leadership and leading by example. The third one is no one is bigger than the team. It's all about the team and the team as a unit. The fourth one is about not being afraid to discipline people, even your best performers. Now, that is, like I say, something that it can be very hard for managers, particularly if people are your star performers. But when they put a foot wrong, sometimes leaders will turn a blind eye to that. So it's important to discipline even your star performers. The fifth is around having that flexibility to change, to realise when you've maybe made a mistake or you need to adjust the path that you're taking. And the sixth one is about praising in public whilst managing in private, and making sure that team business is kept as private as possible. So I hope you found that useful. Do drop in the comments if you hate United, or if you hate the fact that I've worn my bobble hat. I don't really mind, but I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. I hope you find that interesting. What are your leadership tips? What leadership tips have you taken from the sports arena? What teams do you follow, and what fantastic leadership have you seen? I'd be interested to hear that. Anyway, now, take care now. See you soon.
I really hope you loved today's episode, and if you did, please make sure you subscribe and listen out for future episodes too. Please do share it across your social media channels. We hope to reach more and help more people. If you want to find out more about me, my name's Pete Rushmer. You'll find me across any social media channel, and my business, Flagship Partners, and we're your partners in success across your business. Thank you. See you again soon.